Quiet mornings to city lights. Every story earns its right. No filters, no favors, just the truth all day long. This is the pulse of Jonesboro.
Hello, and welcome to the Pulse of Jonesboro. I'm Jeremy Terrell, and I am your host. Thanks for tuning in. Today is going to be a good one. It's got lots of information, and here we go. Guys, we had a city council meeting this week, and it was a banger. I don't have any other word for it other than it was a banger. And the reason why it was such a banger is because, man, did a lot happen. All the stuff that happened with City Stars back in the April of last year, where everybody started resigning and things like that. It was a bad deal. And what happened was it all came to a head last night. And basically, all of the receipts were brought. So we're going to go over the receipts, and then I'm going to add some receipts to that, and then we'll see what goes from there. But I'll try to give an update on where I believe we are within the investigation, and we'll kind of go from there. But I really want to cover a lot of what happened at the city council meeting and talk a little bit about it at the end of that and give you my thoughts. So basically what happened was there was the AMP did and I'm looking at my computer over here. So the AMP did a update basically on the sports complex. And in that time, they took it upon themselves to get up and talk about basically the timeline of everything that had been going on over the last year and a half that was with City Stars. So basically what I want to do is I want to go through that timeline and kind of tell you guys what was in that timeline, the things that went on, the things that were ignored, and just, really just tons and tons of information. So here we go. So back in February of 2023, Daniel Gary, who was part of the Revolution, emailed Danny requesting visibility into financials. So I said, a year and a half ago. This is actually 2 years ago, and actually 3 years ago. So, and basically, he wanted to know about the financial statements and the lack of transparencies, and there was no response. In February of 2024, there was sent out to the city of Jonesboro to get a budget to identify the evidence of field usage and things like that, and the fees and where the fees went. No evidence found. Then February 22nd, 2025, there was an email sent to Danny Kapalis looking for any visibility into the soccer budget for the city. First response indicated that the City Stars is wholly independent from the city. During a board meeting in May of 2024, they wanted to know about gate fees, fundraiser events, and so forth. Danny's response was, "It is going to be my people collecting the gate fees because you are subcommittee of City Stars, and my people are going to collect the gate." They asked why they can't be part of the gate and help offset. This is important, to help offset players' costs. So the Revolution Board, which I don't know much about other than stories or whatever, that's a whole different conversation. But anyways, the board reached out to Danny and wanted to talk about events and fundraisers and collecting gate fees to help offset players' costs. Danny said, "Nope, it'll be my people only." Sorry. Danny emailed was emailed again asking for clarification on City Star's board and the board members, because at this point Revolution wanted to reach out to them and say, listen, this is what's going on, and we want to understand the field usage, the field usage fees. We want to know about the funds of City Stars, where the things are going. Danny gave them names, and the Revolution board reached out to those people, and the names that were given, both of those people denied even having association with the board. So Danny lied there. Then he gave, other people, and some of them didn't even live in Jonesboro. And all that happened in May and June of 2024. June of 2024, follow-up email requesting clarification to be provided and asked why Danny gave false names. No response. Matt Milewski met with the mayor to disclose his concerns about Danny Capalis and the financials. Mayor promised to look into it. So, to my knowledge, July 12th, 2024, this is the first time that the mayor was brought into this. And he said he would look into the financials. Matt followed up with the mayor 15 days later, asking for any update. No response. A couple days later, Matt followed up with the mayor. No response. A couple days later, another person, Daniel, texted the mayor requesting any updates. Mayor finally responded to Matt asking for a meeting on August 8th. Matt met with the mayor to discuss. On the 8th, mayor made some commitments to follow up with Matt via text. Nothing happened. September 9th, between mayor and Matt, calls were made, set up meetings and have conversations. Matt texted mayor afterwards on the 18th, specifically wanting to separate stuff and bank accounts, field usage, and talked about City Star's support. Multiple conversations took place between Matt and the city, but no details ever made. Matt requested a meeting to discuss soccer with the mayor in December 27, 2024. Matt resent the message because there was no response. On the 2nd of January, on the 8th of January, Matt Daniels, Daniel Gary, Copenhaver, Brian Richardson, Tony Thomas, all met to discuss the soccer program, to get clarification and to see what they could do to move forward. They talked about all kinds of different stuff, rearranging things, and formalizing a proposal, and meet in 2 weeks based upon that conversation that they could move forward and figure out the soccer situation. Matt requested a follow-up meeting on that was January 8th. On January 31st, he requested a follow-up meeting. No response. February 4th, Matt sent the same message. No response. On the 5th, he sent the same message. Firm up a meeting. On the 6th, there was a meeting. They talked about placeholders, numbers, and so forth on the way to move forward. On the 6th, Matt texted the mayor and to confirm and agree to move forward on what was talked about. On the 13th, he reached out to the mayor, asked for an update, no response. On the 17th, asked to go get coffee, no response. This happened on and on and on. That last one that I just said was February 17th. There's another one, February 18th, February 21st, April 19th, April 22nd, April 23rd, April 24th, April 25th. And then, this one was between Carol and Matt. Matt saying that basically he's going to resign from lack of anything moving forward. It's been over a year now since these conversations started and nothing's being done. 26th, 27th, they met again, trying to figure this all out, make a deal. There were some requests made in April 27, 2025, April 28th, 2025. They reached out again for the last time, basically, and then April 29th with no response. And then April 29th, everybody resigned from the revolution. It's interesting. Here's one that Danny Kapala states that Miss Weekly and Mr. Teat set up the structure of City Stars keeping the field's usage fees. And they both were reached out to, and both of them said that is not true, wasn't them. There's a lot of different things like that where lies were just told constantly to people. And it's so crazy and so concerning that, all these text messages, we have copies of them right here. I may put these on Facebook. They sent in their resignation letter. Matt did. He gets doesn't get a response from the mayor, gets a response from the city attorney. Then the AMP commission president or chair, Jerry Morgan, sends an email kind of following up because, they give tons of money to the City Stars. And of course, nobody along the way, and to be fair to the mayor, the current mayor, this happened before him. And he has said this numerous times, like, this happened before me, so therefore he doesn't bear any responsibility. That man, I'm so sick and tired of kicking the can down the road, not taking responsibility. This started in 2023, people making you aware of it, and you did nothing. So don't act like you don't have any responsibility, Mayor, because you do. And then there's, all of 2020 or some of 2023, all of 2024 was constant communication. And then in the majority of the beginning of last year up until April, constant communication on this. And you did nothing, people making it aware to you. And then Jerry Morgan sends an email to the mayor asking for clarifications, asking for understanding on, what's going on. They gave money to the organization for fields and, putting turf out there, spent, hundreds of thousands of dollars helping this happen, sometimes millions of dollars. And this was all to do things to bring events and stuff into the city, which would boost, AMP, would boost hotels and restaurants and spending in town. And that's what they're for. And they're giving, hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars. And none of that's happening. None of it. And what's crazy is people are always talking about this. I mean, I cannot tell you over the years how many times in my life, we can't have tournaments because nobody wants to come because they can't run it right. I mean, it's been going on for years and years and years. And we know why. It's coming to find out that, and it's all coming to a head. And I know people still in some of the comments, people are saying, well, Danny's a great guy and he's done such great stuff for the city. And that, I don't know Danny. I don't know from Adam. I've had maybe 3 interactions with him my entire life. And I'll say this. So I use the parks regularly. And I know people that have worked for him. And I've actually had many conversations as of late because, we're doing our own investigation on this kind of thing. And I can tell you that the majority of the people that work for Danny do not like him, do not trust him, things like that. I can tell you that, maybe within his circle, he's a nice guy and there are people that he's been great to apparently, but it's easy to be great to people when, you're collecting hundreds of thousands of dollars of, somebody else's money and you get to spend it freely. The truth is going to come out about this. We will know the lengths of this. And I believe the lengths of this is going to be way greater than the stuff I'm going on right now. And, that email was in the first part of November from Jerry Morgan to the mayor, and he was saying, "Hey, listen, he still wants an audit done, a legislative audit, and he believes that it is because this falls underneath the city. The city ran City Stars. The city ran City Stars. I don't care what anybody says. The city ran City Stars. They took applications. They did all of the registrations. They everything. We ran the fields. We paid for the fields. Everything we did, the city did. City employees did. Every single thing, with the exception of collecting money. And if you think for a minute that is not wrong, you're kidding yourself. You are turning a blind eye to something so significant, it's mind-boggling. And so if you're acting like this, there's nothing to see here, you're crazy. And it's bad. It's crazy bad. So Jerry, he asks a bunch of questions, asks for legislative audit and so forth and so on. So we're talking about 2-3 pages, 3+ pages, and the response is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sentence paragraph, or 8 lines paragraph sent back to him, and basically it says, "Hey, I appreciate your thoughts on this matter. We have been in the process of reviewing our total youth sports program. I'm sure you understand that decisions made will affect all youth sports, not just one program." I don't even understand. Like, he keeps saying, he uses words very well, and he's constantly using words so he does not find himself liable. And of course, everybody understands that it's all youth programs, not just one program. But the soccer part of it is like sick and tired of it. So the basketball, I promise you, if the basketball program knew that that Danny was collecting all the gate money and putting it in his pocket, they'd be pissed off too. I guarantee the softball would be pissed off too. I guarantee there'd be tons and tons of upset people, as there's gonna be. And so only one of the groups are affected. No, that's not. Nobody's saying that only one of the groups are affected. They just want to know what is going on with the soccer part, which then in turns affects everybody. And so, do you just say, hey, any decisions made will affect all sports in capital letters. Please provide me with some dates next week that you may be available to discuss. On the audit question, he goes in to say that the company that was recommended, and I don't want to hang them out. I'm quite sure, they're reputable and have a high, respect value or whatever. I'm not, I think that was just a joke. And so it wasn't their fault. But the audit was done by one of their principals, and he is pleased with the audit. And that they reached out, and I'm about to FOI this bull crap. So we're going to find out the truth on this, and I'll let you guys know. But they reached out to the legislative audit group already, and he believes that happened, and he believes that their response was, this isn't their purview. So I want to know if they really did reach out to him. Really want to know. So I want that stuff provided for us. And, but it's just, and let me tell you this. I know that people in our city that have reached out to the mayor, people that have given hundreds of thousands of dollars, possibly millions of dollars, people that have given land, people have reached out to the mayor and wanted to meet with him, and he's put them on the back burner. I know this for a fact because I've been told by the horse's mouth of this stuff. I can tell you that numerous times that people have requested time with him and got no response. I can tell you that I've reached out to him after the election. I got no response. So here's some other stuff. So we get all of this information from Matt Monalewski talking about the timelines and no responses and things like that. So I want to give you more communication that was given that they didn't talk about. And, maybe I should have got up and said more. I didn't have enough time. I ran out of time, went over my time. But we also have city council starting first to the middle of last year, constantly asking the mayor, where are we at? Where are we at on this? Where are we at on this? Where are we at on this? Nothing, no information. Last night, questions were asked about this and going cashless. And Carol Duncan said, well, I think that there's a law that was just passed that we can't do 100% cashless. Well, that's not true. And she should know that. You can go cashless, 100% can go cashless. The ruling is if you owe a debt or whatever, that cash is tender and they can use that or whatever it may be. But if you are a cashless event, schools do it all over the state. ASU does it. Why in the world can't Jonesboro do it for sporting events? You tell me. I mean, I don't even know why this is a discussion. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know that sometimes it's burdensome to some, to have a debit card all the time. And I know that kids kids that want to come watch can't come watch sometimes because they don't have a debit card. And there's solutions for that. Let them in free. I don't know. But for them to say, yeah, I think maybe it's against the law. We can't do that. And not know. I'm that guy that watches, hearings in the Capitol a lot. And some of the craziest things that our elected officials say, you're just scratching your head and it's a lie, or it's just kicking the can down the road. And that's what happened last night. It was just another can kicked. It has been 3 years that we've talked about this, and you still don't know the rules. That's a massive amount of incompetence. You should have known the rules when this was brought up in April. You should have known the rules by May. You definitely should have known them by June. Here it is, almost February of the following year, and you still act like you don't know the rules. And there's no way we know how to go cashless. Well, pick up the phone and call somebody. Pick up the phone and call ASU. Say, hey, man, how'd y'all do that? The level of incompetence going on is staggering. It took us a year or two to put up the first doggone coverage at the bus stops. 2 years before you can figure out how to put a covered bench at a bus stop. The level of incompetence is staggering. We got all of these awards. The mayor got up and talked about the awards we got. And we got a Trendsetter Award for the park rangers. And which, again, none of us really know what that was. Really, we still don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think we should have put 4 more police officers on and maybe made them whatever that is. But we didn't. We did park rangers, and we got an award for it because we're the only ones in the state that did park rangers, whatever. I feel like that's goofy, but whatever. Give us an award for it. One of the big ones that I feel like was good is we got one from, and this is off of the Municipal League, which is kind of I can do a whole episode on this one too. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, they're not a governing body. They're just made up of some mayors, and they collect a bunch of money and pay out a bunch of salaries. Anyways, Bentonville, Rogers, that whole area should win every one of them based upon what they're doing over there, with the exception of, whatever. But we got one where we had our youth council got an award, and it was they have like 1,100 hours of community service from last year. That's fantastic. Like, having the kids involved and stuff. But one of those kids came up to me after the meeting and said, "Mr. Terrell, I had no idea that this was going down, and none of us have any idea that this is going down within the youth committee, that, this seems to be a big thing and a big deal." And I said, "It is a big deal. It is a big deal. And I appreciate what you do, and thanks for your service and being involved. And you guys are the future, and that's fantastic. And stay involved, no matter what, stay involved with the city." But, he felt kind of blindsided. And the truth is that it's, it was blindsiding to people that aren't paying attention. It's massively blindsiding. I know some of the city council were blindsided. So, but I want people to understand something that happens with these awards that are given. Danny Kapos got an award back in, what was this? I think October or whatever. And, it's like Parks Department Guy of the Year or whatever. So what happens is so one of our ladies within our city, she nominates him. And basically she wrote up this reason why he should get the award. And I'm looking at it right now, and basically, it's because of the trail system. It's because of tourist program that we've been recognized for. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think we can count the people coming in from Lake City and Monad and Blytheville and coming in to shop as tourism, but maybe we can. But that has nothing to do with Danny. Zero. I don't know what in the world they're talking about that he's done. They talk about the program in the E. Boone Watson Center and how much Danny put into that. This, I don't even want to, really? It talks about a planning award, that the Arkansas chapter of American Planning Association for Health and Accelerator within the Jonesboro Parks Department master plan. We paid for that plan. Danny didn't come up with that plan. We paid lots of money for that plan. Sports Management Program of the Year. Arkansas Recreational and Parks Association and Shooting Complex. Are you guys kidding me? The shooting complex? I don't know if Danny's been out to the shooting complex in years. Maybe he has. I mean, I've been out there. I've never seen him. I know that they got competent people out there running that program. And I know that they don't talk to Danny very much. Recreational and Parks Association, Sports Management Program. We cannot run a tournament. You know why? Because if we did, number one, any reason to cancel it, they did. Number two, Danny Kapos would lose the ability to collect all of that money. So we didn't do a bunch. Jerry Morgan got up and talked about this, the economic impact that was caused by this money grab was millions of dollars a year. Millions of dollars a year that we didn't capitalize on because of a big money grab situation. There's notes in here that talk about Danny Kapos telling people, basically just to shut up. This is not in their purview. This ain't got nothing to do with them, and City Stars will take care of everything. And then Danny would turn around after spending hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money, thinking that it was going towards a sports program, spend it on himself, then turn around and go ask for more money from the AMP and other groups in the city and stuff. What? Like, this scandal is huge at a level that is mind-boggling. Now, remember, guys, I can't stress this enough. This literally is taking money from a kids organization that was supposed to help underprivileged kids. They talked about it all the time. Underprivileged kids, cut down costs, whatever. And then when a group and an organization reaches out to Danny and says, "Hey, is there any way we can help cover costs and cut costs?" And he's like, no. But now we know, not official, but it looks like that he's been taking hundreds of thousands of dollars from this organization. I can tell you, I know, do the math. Everybody that keeps questioning this, just do the math. Like, quit with the blind eye, quit it. The mayor turned a blind eye for 2-3 years. This happened with the previous mayor, and with all due respect to him, he ought to be questioned. Maybe the FBI has questioned him. I don't know. It'd be good to know. I mean, we'll see when the indictment comes out who all was involved, who all was turning a blind eye, who all was questioned. I will tell you this too. Here's another thing, guys. People were fired from the Parks Department. There's going to be some whistleblowers that came forth and ended up getting fired over things like this. I believe we're going to have lawsuits. Really do. I believe we're going to have wrongful termination lawsuits. We're going to have whistleblower violations. We're going to have, anybody and everybody that went against Danny got fired. It's the truth, guys. It's the truth. Anybody that saw something nefarious and brought it up ended up getting fired, or they ended up quitting. I can tell you that, people within the office said that he would put massive pressure on them to try to run them out constantly. That's what people have told me personally. And the mayor turned a blind eye to this for 3 years. Let me tell you something. With all the things that I've been told over the last year and a half, with all the things that have happened since 2024 or mid 2024 up to today is staggering. And no business would make it if it was ran like our city. We're constantly understaffed in lots of different areas. That there's organizations within the city that run horribly, that don't function like they're supposed to be functioning, and they affect the police, the fire departments, so forth and so on. And that is because the organizations are mismanaged. There's other ones that don't even do anything. I mean, again, you guys have heard me say this over and over again, that I've been told clearly by people that work within the city that a whole floor barely does any work. So what are we doing? And at what point in time do we say enough's enough? When people, reputable people, bring you tons of evidence, questions, ask what's going on, and you guys turn a blind eye, at some point in time, when do we say enough's enough? When do we say time out? It's time to move a different direction. It's time to go in a different direction. We constantly get from the mayor, just go look at his end of the year statement. Hey guys, we're going to keep moving forward on the way that we've been moving forward. And we're providing great things and doing great things. And we're going to keep doing that. What are those great things? We bought some land. We're going to try to get a park up in the eastern part of Jonesboro. We partner with RDOT. We tore down a building that now has put us in this financial debacle. We tried to buy some land that was worth way more than what it should have been. And, the mayor was all for it. We tried to buy property from friends and neighbors. Thank goodness, we got involved and others got involved. And that ended up failing. Thank goodness. The city council, I think, is starting to wake up. I think they're starting to wake up. They've been, a lot of them have been a rubber stamp for a while. And I believe they're starting to wake up. There's when a mayor doesn't respond to city um, organizations reaching out to him, when he doesn't respond to citizens, when he doesn't respond to city council, I can tell you this. I can tell you that several on the city council, and they've told me this, have said that they have maybe had last year maybe 4 interactions total with the mayor. That's crazy. That's crazy. He doesn't reach out to them. He doesn't. There is no cohesion there. I mean, I think some of them have cohesion. Obviously, I mean, some of them are rubber stamp everything he says, but there's no cohesion there. There is lots and lots of city council men and women that never hear from the mayor. Never. Emails are short and very few, and I don't know. It's not the way it's supposed to be done, guys. It's not the way it's supposed to be done. We're going in the wrong direction. We are not moving economically in the right direction. We do not know how to. This administration doesn't know how to move us in the right direction. We built a ton of sidewalks. These sidewalks could be effective if done properly and in the right locations. They could have been. You guys know how I feel on these things, but had we put them in the right places, they may reap benefit. As of right now, there is none. There's zero benefit. Zero. Yeah, people are walking down them occasionally, and that's great, but we could have put in normal sidewalks and then put in twice as much. Instead we got runways all over town in the wrong locations. And that's because this mayor does not know what he's doing. We constantly have road issues. Our roads are getting worse. He says we don't have funds. We don't use those funds, number one. So I don't know why he says we don't have funds. We don't even use the funds. I don't think he knows how to get things done. I don't think he knows how to, take a project and make it happen. I really don't. I think he knows how to talk. I think he knows how to get on social media and say, hey, we're doing great things, guys. And he quotes the same ones, every time. I mean, the youth council, I can't deny that, 100 kids showing up or 99 kids or whatever it was showing up each month. And then, each of them gave, 10, on average, gave 10 hours worth of it doesn't matter. What if youth are getting involved, that's great. It's great. I know that it could be better. I know that we really could involve them in some things. But aside from that, I don't know. We got a Trendsetter Award for 4 out of all the applicants we got. We got his son, and Miles is a good dude, so don't get me wrong. But was he the most qualified? Were all of these guys the most qualified? I don't know. I mean, are there any connections? I can tell you this. This is another thing. I sent out an FOI request on cameras and the new cameras that we got. And I want to know the locations and why. And didn't get any information, so I sent another one. And then I finally got a response, and then I got a response from Lynn at the police department, and she said, here they are, here's the lists. Well, they left one out. And that's the one that happens to be a house away from one of the mayor's sons on Wilkins, and I don't even want to say it. But anyways, it's on Wilkins. The camera's on Wilkins. Well, that one was left out. Why? Why are we putting cameras by your family's houses? Our cameras. That camera could have been put it in front of it's not even in front of MacArthur. So, I mean, MacArthur has their own. Don't get me wrong. All the schools have their own cameras. So, do we need them at the schools? I don't think so. But we put it down Wilkins, kind of in the middle of nothing. Nothing. Except that a relative lives right there. This is the kind of scandals that we constantly are having with this administration. And people are, sometimes people come on my social media and be like, you really hate the mayor. I don't know the mayor. All I know is the things that he promised me never have gotten done. The things that he acknowledged to me that he knew within the city were really bad have never gotten done. He came to me and says, I know you're passionate about youth and your commitment to youth. I want you part of a youth program if I'm mayor, but only if you endorse me. So do you really care, or do you just want to be mayor? That's the question. Do you really care? I mean, you talk about the north side of town and constantly you're mingling and whatever, but the E. Boone Watson Center has been shut down now, and you've made promise after promise that it's going to be open. I know that you told somebody in the 1st of December or 2nd of December that it would be open soon. It's almost February. And I talked to somebody in the city, and you guys are no further along than you were December 2nd on reopening E. Boone Watson Center. And then you want to give Danny Capalas, on the nomination, you want to give him that's part of why he got his award, because of all the work he did at the E. Boone Watson Center that's been shut down for months and months and months and months and months. We have a whole floor that we lease out, and maybe when we did that, it made sense, but this is kind of the inability for our mayor to have foresight. Now we need all of that space right now. We need all of it. And we got a lease, and we got this and that. I'm sure there's things that we could go. I know the guy that moved in there was going to build a nice place and all that stuff, and maybe he can afford it, maybe he can't. I don't know. But have the talks even happened? Have you gone to the guy that has a whole floor in City Hall and said, hey, we're running out of space. We didn't expect this to happen. And we got this building that's shut down, and now we're spread thin. Is there something that we could do so that we could bring all of these things in, and would it burden you? Has that even happened? Has that conversation happened? No, but we're going to close down one of our community centers that community needs and uses at a high level and hasn't been able to use it. I know that they've given one tour in the last, 4 or 5 months, when they used to give tours all the time. They gave one tour to a school, and the school wanted to bring 17. They could only bring 6 or 7 because that's all that the capacity would hold based upon what's going on in that current location with the city in the Warrants Division or whatever taking over. Does the Warrants Division need a location? Absolutely, they need a location. But again, it's kind of like it took us freaking 5-6 months to make a decision on whether or not we're going to tear down a building and we just shut down downtown, just shut down the roads. And then the economic, some businesses lost their businesses because of that. Then we move into, hey, we got a problem at the Justice Department on Washington, and it took months and months and months to say, hey, we can't do anything with that building. It's going to cost too much, and we're going to make all of these moves. So, we move at a snail's pace. We're lied to. We're ignored. We don't do much of nothing. We don't do anything unless we're paying groups. I mean, I want to know how much we've paid out to organizations to tell us what to do in the last 2 years. Maybe in the last 6. I want to know what that is. I want to know what that number is. I bet it's a big one. But it's a big one. Still can't fix our roads. He can't come out and talk to us about it. He can't get on social media and say, hey, guys, we have a big decision to make. We're still living off of, 2020 taxes, and we've got to fix our roads. We have twice as many people, and we have twice as many of that coming in on the weekends, and we need help. But he can't explain those things. I don't know if that's true. I speculate that there's some truth in there, but also nobody believes what he says anyways. So, I mean, I don't guess anybody. I don't want to say nobody because he did get reelected, but that's because nobody was telling the truth. And the truth is we haven't done anything. Just because he says we're going to keep moving forward, we're going to keep moving forward. Well, at what pace? You've taken a step in 3 years forward, if that. And we are literally sitting here at a crossroads, in my opinion, that the city council is going to have to make a decision. Do you have confidence in this mayor? Can we continue to go down this road with the lies that have been told, the cover-ups that have been done, the inability to get anything done? We make committee after committee after committee to do the things that the people that we elected and or were hired by the person we elected to make those decisions, but they don't make the decisions. I think they go into a meeting and they sit around and they're like, hey, who can we hire to tell us what to do? Who can we hire to tell us, how to put up structures that are appropriate for bus stops? What? Get your happy rear end in a car and drive to Little Rock. Ask them what they did. Take measurements. Take pictures. Whatever. This is, well, we got to find out, if we're whatever, ADA compliant. I think that's the initials. But, it's okay, read the book, read it. There is a book that tells us whether or not you're compliant. Read that book. Go put up a doggone bench that people can sit at. But no. We need $1 million plan to tell us that. Danny Capalas he's a Park and Recs guy of the year, but because of his plan that we paid $1 million for, that wasn't his plan. And he's supposed to implement it. But I can tell you the majority of the people that work for him did not like him. Come on here and tell me otherwise. So, and people, you guys can say whatever you want to about what I'm saying. It's just the truth. I talked to him myself. Now we got, the sad thing is we've hired probably somebody competent. And boy, I don't know if he knew what he stepped into. I don't know if he knew, the level of it. I mean, the people in the surrounding businesses and groups and A&Ps and things like that, now they're talking about getting another organization to run the parks and city rec stuff. This, in my opinion, is the proof in the pudding on how bad this situation is. We are building a multi-million dollar facility, huge multi-million dollar facility to be with our money, to be ran by another organization because nobody had confidence in the Parks and Rec, which at the time was Danny Capalas. If we had competency, we wouldn't have done that. And now that we may have competency in the new Parks and Rec guy, I mean, his resume definitely looks like he's qualified. I know him somewhat personally, and I know the things that he's done over his career have been pretty decent. I think we give him a shot, but the problem is he's got such an uphill battle because of what we have been used to, and I can tell you there was no structure, there was no day-to-day real understanding of what each and everybody was supposed to do unless they took it upon themselves. I mean, they got some old heads, thank goodness, that knew what to do and just did it. But now they're talking about taking the City Stars organization and taking it over and paying some company to run it. And again, that takes money out of yours and my pocket. because we pay for these salaries. And then when we go to these organizations and pay for our kids to have whatever it is they, have within soccer and football and whatever, volleyball, and then a company takes a big chunk of that. That's lost revenue. And I get why they're asking that, because they have no confidence in this administration to do the right thing. And that is making us as a town suffer. The lots and lots of people have lost confidence in this administration. I know that things have been brought to the city about other things, and this stuff's going to come out too eventually. I mean, I hope everybody within the city is nervous and starts doing their job and dotting I's and crossing the T's because of this investigation. But, I think other investigations are going to come out of this. And it's going to be bad. And it should be the responsibility of the administration. He cannot say he didn't know about this. There's another couple of things that were said in this, and that was that the mayor told people over time and time again that maybe Danny's taking money and paying himself. Okay, did you know that? Did you have that conversation with Danny and he said, yeah, I'm paying myself? Or did you just speculate it? Did you ever ask Danny? So the first time this started happening was 2 years ago, and you never asked him? You never went to him and said, hey, buddy, are you paying yourself? Are you taking money from this? Are you benefiting financially from this organization where the city pays for everything, mows everything, does everything, and you have this organization that you're just the cash cow? It was a designed entity to basically, it's interesting. I wonder, in the start of all of this, was the conversation sit down and it was, hey, I can't pay you enough to really do this job? Because I believe that that's the case. I don't think that the salary for a Parks and Rec guy is anywhere close to where it should be. It's just this, it's thousands of kids, thousands of square foot, hundreds and hundreds of acres, sidewalks, all kinds of stuff, takes all kinds of stuff. Needs to be 100,000 plus a year job. But anyways, I wonder if the conversation was this: hey, you start this, you can collect all the gate money, pad your pockets, we'll pay you X amount a year, and there you go. Now we can afford you. The problem is we didn't hire somebody that was qualified anyways. But the proof's in the pudding, period. We do not have, we got great facilities in some aspects, but we do not have, Craighead could be better. If we relinquish the reins and let that department just really, do with it what they can, get the training, get the equipment, get everything that they need. I mean, they'll take that thing to the next level, but our parks have ran incredibly not well, structures ran not well. There's all kinds of inefficiencies in everything that we do. And, it's such a cluster. And at some point in time, the people of Jonesboro, number one, deserve better. You guys have heard me say this. Our police department, it's time for the two at the top to go. It's time. We need a chief and an assistant that understand the burdens of today and know how to handle them. 100%. The people that put on the uniform every day deserve that. You and I, who pay our taxes, deserve that. We deserve more and better. Period. Our Parks Department, the things that matter to us most are more deserved and are ignored. They're just ignored. And it's time. City Council, listen to me. It's time for you guys to put on your big boy britches and big girl britches and have a discussion. Are you confident that this current mayor is competent enough? And do you have confidence in him to run our city? I think when the indictment comes out on this whole thing with City Stars and stuff, it's going to look worse than it currently does right now. You know, there was a question brought up, and I'll be done. There was a question brought up last night, and it was, hey, why was something omitted in the notes and minutes of a meeting? Why was the statement of Danny Capala saying, which was a lie, saying that he pays no employee, full-time employee, cash? There was that was omitted from the notes. And the response was, we've been found, or we've been exonerated from that, or I don't remember exactly what Carol Duncan said, but basically her phone rang during the taking of those notes, and it disrupted those notes, and that is the reason why that line was omitted. Okay, and that could be, guys. That could be a 100% legit thing. But can we trust any of this? With all that's happening, can we trust anything that is said anymore? That's a big question. You've covered up, you've lied, you've kicked things down the road over and over and over again. And so now we don't believe you guys. You're not transparent. You haven't been transparent. You haven't given conversations. The cameras is case in point. I FOI'd it, and you sent me a list, and you did not put the one camera down. The only really one that I was actually wanting to know why it was there. Not only did you not give me an explanation, but you didn't even put it in there. These are the kinds of things that make everybody start scratching their head and say, we can no longer trust you guys. So, City Council, you are the oversight. Today turns a new leaf in your oversight. Are you confident that this mayor, number one, tells you the truth, number two, doesn't kick things down the road for 2 years, and then FBI gets involved before we do anything? And really, the honest truth is we still haven't really done anything. Like, the cashless situation should be taken care of. That should have been done immediately. As soon as the investigation started, you should have went cashless. And then as of 2 days ago, you guys act like you still don't know whether or not we can. It's massive incompetence. I was asked, to provide names. Nobody ever called me. Nobody ever followed up and said, hey, Jeremy, you and I had a conversation about you having some names. Can you give those to me? I really want to investigate this. Make sure we're not doing anything nefarious. Nope, that didn't happen. Hey, Jeremy, give me some names. You give me the names. And if you don't, nothing to see here. Well, guess what? Something to see. There was something to see, and you didn't care. Continual blind eye. And this happens. We're not the only city that does this, but currently, right now, I mean, we're one of the only ones in Jonesboro that's just of our size that's just failing. We're not going in the right direction. The leadership across the board, in my opinion, chamber, mayor, so forth and so on, we need to revamp. And it's time. And it's okay, guys, to say it. I don't have to be the only one saying it. Other people can start to say it. Like, put the pressure on our people to get out of the way and let other people that know what they're doing run our town. Put us in the right direction. Put us in give us a chance. We are the perfect storm. We have the school. We have manufacturing. We have medical. We have, you name it. We have it here. We have what almost every other city in America wants. We have it here. We just have to have the leadership. We have 600 jobs that can't be filled. We have 600 people that are unemployed. I promise you that. But we have 600 manufacturing jobs currently right now that we cannot fill because we're not doing a good enough job of turning out people that are ready for jobs. Just lots and lots of things. Man, I could go off and off and off, and maybe I will the next time, of how in the world we are missing the boat almost across the board on everything we're doing in Jonesboro. Just the truth. So, guys, thank you. We had 81. I woke up this morning and I think we're 81,000 views in the last 28 days. That's amazing. So keep it up. Share. Reach out to your friends. With your voice being heard, we will make a difference in this town. We will make sure that those that are elected will represent you and me. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and I ask that God watch over each and every one of you and watch over our town. Have a great, wonderful week. We will see you next week, and God bless.